So welcome guys to the date night class. Like I was saying before, recipe sizes are a little bit smaller, so it's ideally catered to you and your significant other, or you and your friend, or you and your small family unit, as well as the directions for the recipe are also color coordinated so that you can divide it up. So one person does chopping while the other person does mixing. You definitely don't have to follow it verbatim, but it's there in case you do want to cook along with your partner. So it gives you guys both things to do. Anyway, I am so excited to have you part of this class. We'll be making a dinner that you can share maybe on Valentine's Day, or just, cook for date night in the future. What we have on the menu, we're going to be doing a baked feta appetizer with some pita chips. We are doing a Valentine's Day salad. We're doing a homemade pasta with a Zaatar pesto, and it's going to also have some marinated shrimp in there. So lots of really good things. At 7:30 tonight, you will all be getting an email with a video of our dessert for tonight, because I can only fit so many recipes into an hour, and we have 5 today. So you will be getting a very simple, easy how-to as far as the Flourless chocolate olive oil cake. And it is super delicious. I have been snacking on it all weekend. So anyway, I think the next thing to do would be to bring out my special guest. This gentleman has cooked with me for, 6 years now? We've done cooking classes at Whisk. We cook over the fire together. We are starting a huge garden to make all of our own vegetables. So we're all about food and all about cooking, and we just have a great time. So I would like to introduce my guest, my husband, Toby Lawson. Come on down.
All right, happy to be here.
Clearly. Okay. So like I did 2 weeks ago with my dad, I kind of gave a little intro I asked my dad to give himself a little intro, his background and what he does. I would like Toby to take the floor. Let's say 2 minutes tops. I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and what do you do, Toby?
All right, my name is Toby. I'm just a fisherman, but I roof to pay my bills. So anything to do with roofing outside of your house, I take care of, problems, upgrades, things like that. But I do love to fish when I'm not doing that. I also have a garden out back that we both work very hard at.
We'll be talking about that in the class.
3 big gardens.
We raise rabbits.
And we raise lop-eared rabbits, purebred Holland lop-eared rabbits that we sell the babies, and they also fertilize our gardens. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
So we clearly don't do much. But one thing we also do is cook. So the key ingredients that we'll be focusing on today, of course, olive oil. That is always a huge one. These are all products from the Sassool market. We have sea salt used in every recipe we're doing today. We're also focusing a lot on Zaatar, which in Lebanon, they say it makes you smart. So you always eat it right before you take a test at school, which is really cool. And then semolina. We'll talk a little bit about semolina when we get to that recipe, but semolina is so versatile and used in a lot of Lebanese and Middle Eastern recipes. So I'm excited to share with you what we're doing today. So let's start with the baked feta appetizer. This is super easy. You can do it, while you're multitasking and doing everything else. But we're going to start with a block of feta. So in my recipe, I have 4 ounces of feta. Since I have a crowd, I have my camera crew and my babysitter and everything. We here are doubling the recipe so that we can enjoy it after the class. But normally it's going to be just half this. So to keep that in mind, follow off what we have on the recipe. Those are the measurements I'll be talking about. So what you're going to do, put your block of feta in a Pyrex pan. Just put it in the center. And you're going to have your oven on 400 degrees. After that, you're going to decorate it nicely. If you saw our Instagram post today, you saw like my pre-work as far as the baked feta appetizer. while I start layering, I'm gonna ask Toby to slice this red onion because he is very good at chopping. Do you want to switch places with me?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so we're gonna need the onion to be sliced pretty thin. It's gonna go on top of everything, and then it'll kind of caramelize in the oven. But first thing we do is add the artichoke. Actually, add the tomato. Let me grab the tomato. Okay, so I washed these ahead of time, but these are just cherry tomatoes. I love the size of cherry tomatoes, and also they're like a little bit sweet, so I really like that about them as well. You're going to drop them into the pan. Let me tell you, this is the easiest recipe you could ever do, especially for date night. You want easy recipes because you don't want to be stressing. So you're going to put the tomatoes in. Okay. Followed by the artichokes. And I just gave these a rough chop. They come in a jar. Do you have a question?
Yes. Any recommendations for a particular knife to help with chopping onion or anything else so thin?
Yeah, so
Sharp one.
it's a sharp one. This one is like a Japanese sushi knife. I really like this one because it has like grooves on the sides, and it seems to really, when it's sliced, it stays very stable. So I always recommend this kind of. The name of the knife is actually slipping my mind because I'm on camera, but I will email you guys the name of that knife. That's the kind I always use. And I don't know, how do you feel about that knife?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love this knife.
Yeah.
It's German steel, so that's great. You know, the Germans, they know their steel.
Yeah.
So I agree.
Why not?
Let's look at the Volkswagen.
That's right. So after the artichokes, you're really just layering everything around the block of feta. After the artichokes, you're putting black olives. Okay.
Strong onion.
No, don't cry so soon.
Strong onion.
We don't need to get upset. So, okay, just like this, you can use whole pitted black olives. You can use whole artichokes. But in my mind, as you bake it down and you're going to be dipping pita chips, the smaller the vegetable that's mixed in with the cheese, the better that bite is going to be. So I did choose sliced olives today. Do you want to go ahead and add the onion on there? Thank you.
All around?
Yes.
Or on top of
And we kind of leave the feta a little bit bare.
Okay. Bare the feta.
Okay, and while he's doing that, I'm gonna pick 8 basil leaves that are going on top. If you guys are members of the app TikTok, or you may have seen it on Instagram too, there is some craze going on with baked feta. And what they do is they actually make it exactly like this, maybe with a few less vegetables, but then you take pasta and you just mix it in with this. So keep that in mind. This recipe is versatile. You can use it as a chip dip. You can use it as a spread on bruschetta. You can also bake it and then throw your pasta in it, and it will be excellent. I think that's probably good. I overestimated the size of the onion. Okay, guys. So after that, we do a little bit of sea salt, also from the Sassool market, around on the vegetables. Now, I don't do it on the feta because feta itself is a little bit salty. So I don't want to add and, make it like way too salty. Then we're doing green Zaatar. And I first put it on the cheese, but then I put it on everything else because what's not good with Zaatar?
I love Zaatar.
I love Zaatar too.
It's thyme. It's dried thyme.
Mm-hmm.
For those who didn't know.
Yeah, and
Delicious.
actually, the Arabic word for thyme is
Zaatar.
Zaatar. So it's a mix, and that's the actual Arabic word. So they really know what they're doing. My dad, a little tidbit, he told us, I think I mentioned it in the very beginning when the camera turned on, but my dad told me that every day that they had a test when they lived back in the village in Lebanon, his mom would send him to school with a Zaatar sandwich or make sure that he had Zaatar at home before they left because it's supposed to make your brain like function very, very good. You know, you're on point when you have Zaatar. So they would always make sure that they had Zaatar before they go take tests. I'm drizzling with a little bit of olive oil. It's about 1/4 cup total.
That looks good just to eat it like that.
I know. Maybe for our next date night, we'll just eat it raw. Yeah, we won't even bake it. Okay. Would you pop this in the oven? We have the oven on 400. It's going to go in for 25 minutes. Easy day. You don't have to do anything to it. You just let it bake. It does its thing, and then you'll stir, and you're ready to go. Okay. So, 25 minutes, please. What we're going to get going with next is the Valentine's Day salad. And after that, I'm going to have Toby actually make us pita chips for this appetizer. But we'll be done with the salad before we need to make the pita chips. Can you grab that bowl?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I will talk it out while you chop. That's all right.
You talk it out, and I'll chop it out.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, go ahead. We're going to slice up the cucumber and the radish. I had pre-sliced the beets. So there's 3 things that you are slicing in rounds, and you want to try to make them pretty much the same size. So thin, here, I'll show everyone. There we go. Just thin rounds. The reason I like to chop them all the same in the same shape is solely for picture purposes. But what is not on Instagram these days? So it really, I mean, it counts. It's important. It's a good reason. So if everything is the same shape, and this is what I learned from my aunt, who's our chef at Sassool Virtual, if everything is the same shape, ideally it will look so much more beautiful than if you just had, you know, mismatched like half moon cucumbers and then round radishes and then shredded beets. You know, it ends up looking really uniform and beautiful. And my aunt knows a lot about presentation. She heads up all of our catering, and so she knows what she's doing, and I'm going to take her advice on this. So Toby is slicing the radishes very thin. He's going to do the same thing with the cucumbers, and then we have the beets that way as well. Now, I have the dressing. A little interesting thing about the dressing, it's a citronette, which just means that it has fancy.
Sounds like dog spray.
Sounds like it, but not quite. So this citronette is made with fresh squeezed orange juice. So if you have a citrus in your vinaigrette, it's actually a citronette. So that's what we have today. We have fresh squeezed orange juice. I also have some olive oil, salt, and black pepper. And I just did this ahead of time so that we wouldn't, you know, take up the whole counter with mixing things. But I just take a little whisk, kind of prep it that way. And then as we finish chopping the vegetables, we'll put the spinach into a mixing bowl. Like that. Your recipe is 2 cups. I'm doing a generous 4 cups so that my family and I will enjoy this meal afterwards. So just keep that in mind. Now I'm going to put the sliced beets on top. One reason I love this salad, and I call it the Valentine's Day salad. One, the color. You guys are going to be so in love with the color. Between the radishes and the beets, and if you leave it like an hour or 2, your cucumbers actually become pink as well because of the beets. So it looks great. But also, if you're having a date night, let's be honest, we don't want to have like broccoli and things that may upset our stomach, because who wants that? No one. So anyway, these vegetables are light. They won't, you know, cause any stomach discomfort, and they're beautiful too, and they all taste really good together. So that's why I call it my Valentine's Day salad. Yes, I have a question.
Are they cooked or pickled beets?
They are cooked. You can either boil them or roast them. Either way, you're going to get a tender beet, and that's the goal. So you just want to make sure your beets are tender. Any other questions while we're taking questions?
Yeah. I had a question about, I put it in the chat. Is this similar to the Greek dish bouillardi?
I actually am not familiar with that dish.
Oh.
But I think
it's sort of similar. I mean, you use feta and tomatoes and olive oil. You stick it in the stick in the oven?
That's awesome. That's awesome. What I did is I saw this baked feta trend, and then I customized the vegetables that I wanted to put in it that I thought would taste really good in a dip. I didn't do any back research, but that is something that I will probably do tomorrow and look up that Greek dish. It sounds really, really good. Yeah. Okay. We are putting in the vegetables. Awesome.
One more.
Okay, prepper.
I know, I'm a little slow.
You're running behind.
I know. I get paid by the hour, so I'm stressed.
Yeah, well, thank you for being so honest. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add the dressing, and then Toby will add that last cucumber.
Yeah, one more cuke.
Yeah, one more cuke. We add it in a circle, kind of get everything nice and covered with the dressing. So while we're chopping vegetables, why not talk about the progress with our garden?
Yeah.
So in 2019, when my dad and my sister and I, when we went to Lebanon, we did, the first day we were there, we did this foraging kind of experience where we went on the side of a mountain. We picked everything edible that we could, and then we went back into our tour guide's kitchen and we made this delicious meal. And it was like, it was unbelievable. It blew my mind that we could do that, you know, so close, like from mountain to table, literally. When I got back from Lebanon, I told Toby about this, and I think the next weekend we built 3 gardens because I was so obsessed with the idea of growing and then literally taking it from your garden and making something. So this is our 3rd year.
Yep.
Our 3rd year doing gardening, and it is getting better and better every year. The first year we kind of just went for it. We didn't do a lot of research. The second year we invested in rain barrels.
Yep.
And then by this year we are timing everything correctly.
Correct.
So yeah, go ahead.
We're germinating seeds and then transplanting them. We actually had to move our garden. So little backstory, always do a survey on the property before you buy it because the fence may not be where the survey lines are. So we moved the fence, which went right through our gardens. So we had to move the gardens. We moved the gardens, which are now up the hill. So now we have a rain barrels down here and the gardens up there.
Better sunlight.
Better sunlight,
Yeah.
Right? 3 big gardens and 3 flower beds as well. And so we have 5 rain barrels that are all interconnecting, hooked to our gutters. So we water our gardens with nothing but fresh rainwater. And then we recently just installed a pump that will pump the rainwater up the hill to the individual gardens. That's on a timer, so it makes our lives a little easier. But we still get to enjoy it. We mentioned earlier we raise purebred Holland lop-eared rabbits, and so they fertilize the garden. So also when
we compost too.
We compost, and then when we clean fish, I fish a lot, and so when we bring fish home to clean them, we put their carcasses in there to decay in the soil, and we compost as well. So we've got really good soil. Yes.
Yeah.
How do you keep rabbits, squirrels, and birds from eating the things in your garden?
Netting. There's a mesh netting that we put over the top. It also helps with frost, and then the sun will burn leaves as well. So it's almost like a cheesecloth. It kind of looks like a cheesecloth, but it goes over the top of your garden like mosquito net almost.
And also for the insects, the diatomaceous earth.
Diatomaceous earth, you mix it in the soil before you plant, and then throughout the season, sprinkle it on the leaves. It's a good habit.
Yeah. But every year we have gotten better. We are about to we're kind of waiting for it to stop freezing.
Right.
But we have our vegetables germinating now so that the seedlings will, pop up. And then we are ready whenever the weather is right. And we're going to go ahead and start planting now, soon.
Right. When the last frost is done, then we'll put them in the ground. We have them germinating under a grow lamp in the garage. Just the lettuce. We have if you go on the NC State website, they have farmers or agricultural.
NC State is great for all that.
When to plant everything, and so we just follow that.
She's asking if you can repeat again the insect protection, please. The thing for the insect protection.
Diatomaceous earth.
Diatomaceous earth. They sell it at Lowe's or any hardware store, any garden store.
Diatomaceous earth. So truthfully, I had to practice the way I say it. It's It's a bit long. It's kind of like mojedra.
And then netting over the top for squirrels and birds and things like that.
Can you pass me those two? Okay, guys. So we have our Valentine's Day salad. Isn't it really pretty? And it has the orange juice olive oil dressing. And what I'm going to do for garnish is sliced almonds, which you can get at Sassool. We keep them refrigerated. If you go to the market and you're looking for them, we keep them refrigerated for freshness. I'm going to sprinkle that over the salad.
Looks good.
Thank you. We're definitely having this on our next date night.
That's tonight.
That's right. That is tonight. And then some pomegranate seeds to add to that pink and red color for Valentine's Day. But also, pomegranate seeds add such a nice crunch. One thing I learned from my mom is she adds pomegranate seeds to her tabbouleh. So if you have some pomegranate seeds in your refrigerator, especially around this time of year, if you go to Sassool and get some tabbouleh, add a sprinkle of the pomegranate seeds, and that crunch is unreal. It's so good. So good. So I have to credit my mom for that idea. We are going to put this beautiful salad at our staging station. So you guys, at the end, you can see everything together. So I'm going to go do that. And then Toby is going to start working on the pita chips for our appetizer.
All right. This is pita bread from Sassool.
Right.
It's a mixture of wheat and sesame, looks like.
It is, yes. And so pita chips, I'm sure I've done this in a class before. Pita chips are so easy to make, especially with the pita bread we carry at Sassool, because you really don't have to add much. When it's toasted, it has that great flavor. You don't have to add seasoning if you don't want to. If you want to just be easy, just pop them in the oven. I would recommend drizzling a little bit of olive oil, but what we've done is I quartered, or actually I put it in 6, each round of pita, and then Toby's just opening them and ripping them so that it becomes a thinner chip. And then you just spread them on a pan, no rhyme or reason. You don't have to be extra neat. Drizzle with olive oil, a little salt if you want. And then
a little salt.
Okay, well then date night goes. We're putting a little salt. And then we put it in the oven for 12 minutes. And cool enough, our timer for the baked feta has 13 minutes left. So we're right on time. Like I told you, these are easy recipes. You guys can multitask. You can actually, clean the dishes while you keep going with your meal, and everything is going to flow so smoothly. In our house, we kind of have to time things right and do simple recipes just lately because our little baby, our baby Maddox, he kind of keeps us pretty busy. So
4 months.
That's right, 4
Coming
months.
up on 4 months
Yeah,
now.
4 months on the 13th. It's hard to believe.
Doing great.
Hard to believe. But yeah, anything that's the simpler is better right now, especially for us. So I'm sure we are not the only ones with busy lives or babies or grown kids. I know everyone is busy. So these are simple recipes for your pleasure. Now go ahead, drizzle some olive oil. There you go. And a little dash of salt.
Ooh.
Oh man, getting crazy. Thank you. Awesome.
Right.
And those just go into the oven. We're actually on 12 minutes exactly. Great. Okay. So the next thing that we're gonna make is it's actually 2 ingredient, but we call it 3 ingredient pasta.
Oh yeah.
Now, I don't know if you know that you can make pasta without a machine, like a pasta crank. You don't have to. You don't have to use a pasta crank. And I did not know this. Toby introduced this to me. But we are using, here, I'll trade spots with you.
All right.
We are using semolina.
2 eggs, farm fresh. Oh yeah, we gotta pull it out. Semolina. This is a flour.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the hard grain that's left after the wheat flour has been milled.
That's right.
So.
And you can find fine semolina and coarse semolina. I know this because we have both at Sassool. So here, I'll talk while you keep going.
Yeah. So I make a little pile.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I make a little pond, right?
A little pond because he's a fisherman.
That's right. I'm just a fisherman. Really. So I make this little pond here. Got my egg. Crack my egg. Boom. Put it in the pond. Another egg. Boom. Put it in the pond. Now it's time to fill that pond in. Fill that pond in. Boom. You're gonna start mashing it.
That's right.
This is fun too.
So
Don't let it fall off the cutting board.
no, don't do that.
You got kids. This is fun for the kids. They get to get messy.
Yeah, get everyone in
I'm
there.
like a big kid, you know.
Yes, you are. But so before I knew that you could make homemade pasta without a crank or without any special tools, I was just familiar with the Lebanese recipes that you use semolina for. So things like the Lebanese cookies, like mamoul. There's a cookie called Flourless. Lots of baked goods are made with semolina because I believe that they use it a lot as flour is used here. Of course, they use flour in pita bread and everything like that. There's no absence of flour in Lebanon, but I do see a lot of baking with semolina. So that's kind of what I was familiar with. But when you turn the package over on like your spaghetti or your bow tie pasta or whatever, the first thing says semolina.
Yep.
So, it's always kind of sparked my interest. And then when Toby showed me how to make pasta with just semolina and some eggs, maybe a little splash of water, it really impressed me. And we have done this recipe probably 6 times now. And every time it turns out so delicious. What he's doing over here at the kids station is kneading the dough, and it's going to come together. It takes a little bit of time, but it is going to come together into a nice dough ball. And then you will need to put it into the fridge for 40 minutes. And it allows the gluten in the semolina to really bind together. When you knead it, you're activating that, and you're going to put it in the fridge. It's going to kind of rest and bind together so that you can then roll it out and turn it into pasta. That being said, we have some dough that we've done ahead of time just so we don't wait 40 minutes twiddling our thumbs. So we do have some dough ready to go. Yeah. And I think we have only made like fettuccine style and spaghetti style.
Yep.
But I think we're looking to maybe make like a lasagna noodle sometime soon.
A larger flat noodle.
Yeah. So once we kind of dive into that, during our cooking time at home, I'll email you guys about it and tell you how it goes, because I think it's going to turn out really well.
All right. So it's pretty much starting to bind together.
Mm-hmm. Let me get some plastic wrap for you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so once you're done, make a nice little dough ball, airtight. Put it in the fridge for 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And then when it's done, that one.
I put this one next to the stove so it'll be a little warmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one's not bad.
Okay, cool.
So when it's done, it's completely fine.
We have a question.
Dough.
Yes.
Could you let it sit overnight?
Yes, definitely. So we have tried like a couple different lengths of time just to see if it changes anything, if it makes the pasta unsuccessful or more successful or whatever. I put it into the fridge up to 2 days, and it still has a great product in the end. So yeah, if you want to do this ahead of time, if you have too many things on your plate on the day of, go ahead, do it a day or 2 ahead of time. Just make sure that the dough ball is airtight and has that plastic wrap encompassing everything so that you don't get some air in there.
So when it's done, you're going to want to flour your rolling surface, flour your rolling pin so it doesn't stick. You start in the middle. I make like a rectangle shape. and just roll it out. I keep the fat on the ends, right? So I'm going skinny in the middle. I just keep going. You want it the same thickness. So I get it to about where I want in the middle, and I keep working it.
And what if it rips?
You just pinch it back together.
Okay.
Yeah, it's easy.
Very forgiving.
Absolutely. Starts to stick a little bit. You know, this is dough, right? We worked hard for this. We made a little pond. We got our farm fresh eggs. We've harvested our hard semolina grains. We're going to respect this dough. So I'm going to put some flour on here. I'm going to respect it. I don't want to get it all sticky and nasty. I'm going to throw a little respect on there.
He's literally throwing respect on there.
See, a little more respect right there.
And if it's too big for your cutting board, it is a-okay. It's a-okay to slice the ball of dough smaller into more manageable dough balls, and then you can work, you know, with smaller pieces of dough. So whatever works best for you. But this is not a difficult process. It's very easy and fun. What I'm gonna do while Toby is rolling out the dough is I'm going to make the marinade for the shrimp. Now, I like to marinate my shrimp for a couple hours. So like I think I mentioned in the email, I have done the shrimp marinade ahead of time, but I'm gonna show you how easy it is just to do it like that as well. So we'll go ahead and grind it up. I'm gonna move your respect over.
Thank you. Respect.
Just slide respect over, okay? So this marinade is one of my go-tos. I don't just use it for shrimp, but it also tastes really good if you're marinating grilled vegetables. It tastes excellent with chicken. It is just, it's awesome. Also, like specifically asparagus for vegetables, really, really good. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with 3 garlic cloves. That's going into the Little Ninja food processor. After that, I'm going to take the core out of the half of my red bell pepper. And actually, you're going to not like me stomping on your territory, but...
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Okay.
Real quick, while she's doing that, once you get it rolled, or flattened, I'm sorry, rolled out, you're going to roll it up. It's the easiest way to cut your noodles.
When you take the dough out of the refrigerator, do you need to let it sit at room temperature before you start rolling?
It depends. It depends on how easy you want it to work with. You don't want to get too soft though, because then when you cut it, they'll start sticking together. When you cut the noodles, they'll start sticking together.
I would recommend the dough still be cold when you're dealing with it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And what I'm doing before I add the things to the food processor is I'm just making the vegetables a little more manageable for the food processor to grind up really finely. So it's just seriously a very simple rough chop like that.
All right, so I've got it rolled.
Nice.
They don't have to be perfect, you know. The more cool shapes in there, the better when you're eating it.
This is the kids station anyway,
Yeah.
so. While he slices that, if you guys just want to take a look over here, I have my garlic at the bottom, then red bell pepper, and then cilantro. I'm also putting in black pepper and crushed red pepper. Both of them came from the Sassool Market section. And you just put that on top. And then you drizzle some olive oil like this. And this is easy peasy. And I love the Ninja food processor, not to be biased, but I always recommend this one because it's so quiet. It's not like the big food processor that I've used when I make hummus. This one is smaller, so you know you can only use it for small batches, but it is quiet. And let me tell you, if my little baby son is sleeping in the living room, I can prepare things in the kitchen and he doesn't wake up. It's amazing. It's amazing when I need him to nap, you know, because I need that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes he doesn't go to sleep.
That's right, yeah. Okay, so a few pulses. It's so quiet. Done. Do we have a question?
Can you use the food processor for garlic whip that you have to grind for 25 minutes or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any food processor works for garlic whip. Actually, I'm eating my words. So this one would not work for garlic whip because with the garlic whip, you're going to need a hole at the top so that you can pour the oil in. So something like this with the top loading motor will not work. This is great for grinding, great for chopping and pulsing things, but it wouldn't work for the garlic whip. Let me get our baked feta out of here.
Oh yeah, and the chips.
And the chips. Okay, so you guys can take a look. The chips smell awesome. They're nice and toasty, really crispy. Great. Okay. And then
Is that water still boiling?
our baked feta. It looks whole, but I'm gonna bring it over there and show you how I mix it together, and it all just starts, mixing so nicely. Let me bring it over here. There we go. Okay, let me grab a spoon and I'll show you guys how this works its magic. So right now you still kind of have those layers that you started with in the beginning. Start with the feta. See how creamy it is right now? And you actually just hang on to the Pyrex a little bit. And all of the vegetables, like the tomatoes, are so tender and soft. This is why a lot of people are mixing pasta in with it, because as you mix it, it becomes a really nice cheesy sauce. I highly recommend you jump on that trend. But funny enough, I've heard there's a feta shortage at grocery stores because of this TikTok trend. It's nuts. It is nuts. But Sassool has a surplus of feta, and not just one kind. We have French, we have Bulgarian, we have Greek feta, and they all kind of have like different textures, but they're all really, really great. The kind I'm using today, by the way, is Bulgarian. I believe that French feta is better for salads because it's more crumbly. The Greek feta is super creamy, kind of like cream cheese. And the Bulgarian feta is kind of like your all-purpose feta. It's not too salty, and it's not too crumbly, and it melts really, really nice. So, okay. See, and I'm just stirring it around. Nothing complicated. It smells really, really good. And I can't wait to dip these pita chips in here. I'm going to keep stirring for just a little bit, but Toby, do you want to tell them what you're going to do with the pasta?
So you have your pot, you unwind your rolls, right? You roll it up, cut it, and you unwind them, make your little noodles. I'm going to come over here. We have our boiling water with olive oil in it. We're going to drop in our pasta. Simple as that. You're going to let it boil for 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Not too long though.
If you like it al dente or if you like it a little chewy, whatever your preference.
Okay. Now I'm plating this up. And this is like a chunky cheese dip. So, so amazing. And because the vegetables are, you know, they're not so finely ground, the pita chip specifically works great, because if you're using like a tortilla chip or you're using something else that's a little brittle and not as thick, it's going to break. We don't want them to break. So pita chips all the way. Toby, can you add in the shrimp to that saute pan?
You got it.
And I'll talk about that in just a second.
Anything for you, babe?
Thank you. That's why I hire him by the hour. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm going to bring over the pita chips and I'll show you guys how I'm going to plate them up. Have our beautiful chips right here. Okay. And I always try to find reasons to use really cool plates. Funny thing about me, I really like odd shaped plates. So we have our wooden plate, which I love wooden serveware. It's not always so practical. Like if you have a lot of dressing or something, it's not really good. But things like pita chips or little appetizers, always really great for wooden serveware. We got this one for off our wedding registry, which was really fun. And yeah, I love it. Okay, so you have your feta. And you know what? This is not complete until we have a little pop of color. So, I will credit my aunt on the garnish as well. She's taught me everything I know about catering. I run all the weddings, but she's in charge of the actual food. So she has taught me lots about color pops because they are so important. Okay, and just like that, we have a beautiful warm cheese dip that is going to be amazing with the pita chips. I can't wait for you guys to make this at home. I hope some of you are making it right now because it should not, you should not have to wait. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the stove. What's happening at the stove, Toby?
Oh, we're just about ready to pull this pasta out.
Nice.
We got the shrimp over here.
Have a strainer close by so that you can drain that pasta pretty easily.
Yep. A couple more minutes. I took a piece out. I ate it.
That's the way we test things.
So
that's right. Okay, and if the camera wants to come around over here, I'm gonna slide over just a little bit. I'm trying to show them the shrimp. Okay, so the shrimp is sauteing, and it has that gorgeous marinade on there, and you can smell the garlic and cilantro. Really, really nice. And after the pasta is done, we're actually going to put the pasta in the saute pan with the shrimp. Okay. So I'm going to stir it around a little bit while Toby drains the pasta. Okay. As you start to see the shrimp pink, you know you are getting close. And if you're going for ease, I would recommend using frozen shrimp because then you can thaw them and marinate them, and it is super easy to work with. But if you're using fresh shrimp, I would recommend using local fresh shrimp. So going to the NC State Farmers Market, there's the North Carolina Seafood. Not yet. Hang on just 1 second. The North Carolina Seafood, I think, shop or restaurant, and then they also have like a market where you can get like your fresh shrimp and everything. So this is really, really excellent. Toby, would you mind watching the shrimp while I show everyone how to make our pesto?
absolutely not.
Cool. Oh,
No, I don't mind. I absolutely don't mind.
I thought we just had
An insubordination.
an insubordination. That's right. Okay. So what I do need to do is take my marinade out. Let me get a little container because I totally forgot. Okay, hang tight, 1 second. While I'm getting this marinade out of the food processor, has anyone tried the February Sweetheart salad at Sassool? It has radishes and red cabbage, and it just looks like Valentine's Day in a serving dish. I'm quite obsessed with it because I love our cabbage salad, but this version of a cabbage salad, it's a little bit sweet. It has like fresh or dried thyme in it. It is just so good. And like if you put it in your pita sandwich or however you put it, you can't help but notice that pop of color. And I am just, of course, I just talk and talk and talk about pops of color. But this one is no lie. It's a burst of color. It's so good. Some other things we have going on in February, not as many things as January. January was jam-packed. I felt like I was sprinting. But some of the fun things, if you have not seen some of those snack ideas that we released specifically for the Super Bowl, but they use our market ingredients. So everything from the Sassool market section, and you can make some different light bites and appetizers. So check the YouTube if you need a refresher on those snacks. We made a lot of them for the Super Bowl, like for our family Super Bowl gathering, and it was really, really delicious. So I recommend all of them. I think the fruit leather was like the popular one with my family. And then also the other thing that we have going on would be the Valentine's dessert board. So today, if you still want one, today's the last day to order them. You can either email me, Simone at Sassool.com, or my sister, Noelle at Sassool.com, and order a dessert board. And it has like all these unique little cookies and chocolate covered almonds and, you know, all these great things that you could either share with your special someone or your family. Not many people are going out these days, but with a dessert board, you don't need to go anywhere. It's just, the fun is all there. So let me know if you want one, or let my sister know, Noelle at Sassool.com. What I'm doing for our Zaatar pesto, I've just rough chopped some parsley, added that in, along with some garlic. And then we're gonna do some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper goes in. Pine nuts from the Sassool market. The pine nuts are like, for me, the best part of pesto. This pesto in particular does not have Parmesan cheese. I know a lot of pestos have cheese and dairy. So if you're dairy free, this one is for you. It is excellent. We have some green Zaatar as well going in. Okay, I'm gonna kind of make room for it. And then second to last, we have the juice of 1 lemon with this little crazy cool tool. Okay, there's 1/2 and another half. Man, where's my partner when I can't? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just trying to put you to work. Thank you. Babe. Teamwork makes the dream work and also makes the pesto. The Zaatar pesto. Okay. So, and then I add some olive oil. Last thing, cherry on top. Okay, we're gonna grind this up with our oh so quiet Ninja food processor. Okay, bring it over here. Oh no. You'd have it on tight, I think. food processor. It's so small, but it gets work done. It really, very powerful, so quick, and it's just easy pulses. Okay. Let's see if it's ready. If not, we can do a few more pulses. Oh yeah, it's ready. Of course it is. Actually, there's one stem. One stem. I can't let that stem go. Smells really good.
Should I add in the noodles?
Yes, go ahead and add in the noodles to that shrimp. Okay, guys. So what you would do, the pesto can go directly into your pasta and shrimp dish. Now, just for the sake of showing you guys the recipes like side by side and a little bit separate, because I think there's some beauty in showing you what everything looks like separated, we're gonna keep the pesto on the side today. But if you were mixing it in, go ahead and actually add it to the noodles. Add it to the noodles now as you're sauteing the shrimp and the pasta together. And I have to say that if you did not have shrimp in the pasta, this pesto is like an excellent accessory to just noodles. It's simple. It has a lot of herbs. It's green. I love the color, of course.
It's a color pop.
Thank you. There's a color pop. I need some kind of a bell every time I say color pop.
You know what I think when you say that? Those little balloons that those little party poppers they do at New Year's.
That's what we're gonna have at the next
Color
class.
pop.
The next class, every time I say color pop,
But
a
instead of
firework
ribbons,
is gonna go off next to my
They're
head.
not fireworks. But instead of ribbons, Twizzlers.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Color
Okay.
pop. Twizzler.
Color pop. Happy New Year. We have a question?
Were the pine nuts toasted?
Yes. So you can use raw untoasted pine nuts, which we have in the Sassool market section. But I love to toast my pine nuts. So you can do them either way. You can do them toasted or untoasted. The toasted just tastes a little more nutty, and I really, really like that. So this is our pesto. Looks better than any pesto you would just buy at the store, pre-made.
Mm-hmm.
And it smells so good.
I smell
It smells really good. How do you think it smells?
fresh.
Fresh. That's good. Okay, let's put this at our staging station and let's take a look at the pasta.
Yeah,
How's that doing?
that's ready.
It's ready. Nice. Do you want to scoop it in?
Okay. Look at that.
It smells really, really good.
Homemade pasta. Fresh shrimp. Marinade. Let's go over here.
Yeah, we're gonna take it right there so that
Oh.
you can see us.
Go over here.
Yeah, let's go over here. Will you take your respect back?
No, I'm gonna throw it everywhere.
Okay. Okay, guys. So, what do you say? Is it time for date night?
Yeah.
What we've been doing, because it is, it's no secret that date nights and really every kind of social gathering and going out has been very different as of 2020. But we have tried to make the most of it. What we do is we will, of course, stay in with our little son. We will put our little son to bed.
Mhm.
We will make our date night dinner. We do a 3-course meal. We'll do an appetizer, a main with a vegetable, and then some dessert. And we'll do something interesting that we really never have done before. And we dress up like we're going out. That's like one of the most fun parts. And then we sit at our table together and we talk and we enjoy a meal. And it's just a little bit different than the usual, you know, holding the baby and trying to cook dinner. And then we're in our pajamas, you know, and just being all comfy. Please.
I'm just tasting it.
Please tell us. Please tell us how it is. Really good? Great. So we got his approval. That's most important in this meal.
Burger.
Now, in about 1 minute exactly, we will have a recipe hitting your inbox. I was trying to keep this class to an hour, so we're right there at an hour. But for dessert, we have a flourless chocolate olive oil cake. Now, let me tell you, before discovering this recipe and trying it a couple too many times, I wasn't familiar with baking with olive oil. But when you do it with chocolate desserts in specific, it just adds this richness and just it blends in. You won't know you're having olive oil. So Toby is showcasing the dessert that you will then be able to make. Doesn't that look awesome? It is kind of like a cross between a fudge and a brownie, but it's a flourless chocolate cake. I really love to decorate it with pistachios and cherries. And it's just the perfect thing for a chocolate lover or for Valentine's Day in specific. It's beautiful. It's rich and you don't need more than one slice. And it's so good. So you guys will be getting a video. You should have it in your email right now. And you are the only ones that have access to this video right now. In about 2 days, everyone else will have access, but I want you guys to have it first. Go and try it, make it on Valentine's Day or make it next time you have a chocolate craving.
Look at this spread.
That's right.
This is a great spread.
This is a great spread. Who is going to have date night? Yeah.
High five.
Thank you guys for cooking with us today.
Yes.
It's been a great pleasure.
Appreciate
Toby,
you having me.
do you have any last comments or anything?
Just respect each other, you know? Respect humanity. We're all in this together. Let's
That's
break
right.
some bread, have a nice meal,
Mm-hmm.
and be kind. That's all.
See why I love him? Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being educated about the Sassool market ingredients and these beautiful recipes. And let me know how it goes. And definitely steal some of the chocolate cake from the plate before dinner even starts. But I enjoyed teaching you guys, and I will see you in the next class in March. Be on the lookout for that one. And in the meantime, we will have a March special for Sassool, so check that out. I'm not going to leak it yet because it's going to be extra fun. But we will see you in the restaurant, and I'll see you in this virtual kitchen next time. Have a great night.